Hello, this is Jammal Baba. Today I'm going to cover the origin of the Orunsha talking drum and its connection to the Pandeiro Brazilian drum. This is similar to what Pandeiro looks like. And the Brazilians brought something similar to this back from Brazil after the abolition of the slave trade, transatlantic slave trade. So the Brazilians started coming back to the Gold Coast, and the one that settles in modern day Nigeria, they settled in Lagos on the eastern side of Lagos Island, which later became the Brazilian quarters that we call Popoaguda. Sika in 1830s, it started returning. Of course, the Saleko area of Lagos Island was where the locals were living at and where it's really all activities were there. So the Eleko, the king of Lagos, gave them lands where it's a little bit more outskirt, it's less developed, which is why it's the name Popo, the outskirt. Popo. That's where they gave the Brazilians. So they settled there. Like most things they brought back from the northeastern part of Brazil states, they primarily came from state of Bahia and the state which is a little bit right next above the state of Bahia, which is called Pernambuco. So those two states, Bahia and Pernambuco, were primarily where the returnees were coming back from. And most of these returnees, they were Yorubas. They knew they were Yorubas. They knew their ancestors were Yorubas, so they came back. They came back with their skill set they have acquired, like artisan, bricklaying, woodworking, craft, building buildings and roads and tiles and all that. But along with it is they came with their music. And with this, they came back with something similar to this. It's called Pandeiro. The Westerner will call it Pandeiro, but the Brazilian will pronounce it Pandeiro with U at the end. And they will play with their hands, pretty much with big thumbs, flat, and then they go on the side. So they came back with that. Well, it was fascinating to the locals. So from 1830s, the locals came up with replica of this with Orunsha. And they like, oh, we could come up with something similar. And they were able to successfully come up with Orunsha. You look at an Orunsha is made from clay, which is from the head of the pot. It was broken. So except now they don't even have to make the whole pot. You can just cast the head of the pot and then lay the skin of a livestock goat or ram or sheep on it. And they couldn't come up with a similar tightening that the pandero has, but then they came up with their own skill set. And they have bamboo stick. They sharpen the edge of it and they drill it down into the wet skin, and they tighten it up with a rope around it to hold it in place until it's dry and the peg can hold it. And that's how they came up with Orunsha. Pandero Orunsha. This is why you will not find Orunsha mentioned in Yoruba literary corpus pre-1800. You will not find in Yoruba oral history or written history about Sakara talking drum pre-1800, because we didn't have it. Another point is that if we had this before the pandero came, the Yoruba in the interior will have been playing it, vis-a-vis Oyos, the Ifes, the Ondos, all the way to the Edo borderline. They will have been playing it. The Yahwehs, the Ilishas, they will have been playing it there. But we don't. This flow from Brazil, pandero, landed on Lagos Island. It developed from Lagos Island and it started spreading, but it didn't spread much beyond Ibadan, Abeokuta, Oyo, Ogun, maybe a little bit of Kwara State. But other than that, you will not find this in the Yoruba history or literature prior to 1800s. That's a short lesson on the talking drum. So he's the youngest of the Yoruba drums. He's good. Ibi táwọn bàtà bá jókòó sí tó ń lu bàtà, Orunsha ò lè bá wọn jókòó síbẹ̀, wọn kò ní wà lágbo bẹ̀. Bẹ́ẹ̀ dẹ̀ ni dùndún, gángan drum, kò ń ṣẹgbẹ́ Sakara. Sakara is the baby in the Yoruba drum ensemble. Now that we've covered that, I wanna shift now to an individual that really make it blow up, like catch fire in Lagos. Because you have to remember, Lagos in the 1800s, mid-1800s, they deal with the colonial era government. And the colonial government is introducing things that are a little bit more of a foreign concept to them. Oh, like you have to pay taxes for water. Why do we have to pay taxes for water? We are surrounded by water. Oh, you have to pay taxes for burial. What? We have to pay taxes before we Catholic book. I'm going to cover that in another chapter with a song, but not today. So the Europeans were coming up with rules, and they've already been successful in the north with indirect rule, but it was difficult for them to have indirect rule in the southern part of Nigeria, especially the southwestern part of Nigeria. So on Lagos Island, the rubber meet the road where things weren't working as the British expected it to be. So they used all their divide and rules and all that. But unfortunately for them, they had some Muslim elites in the Saliko area who are pushing back. And they are connected to the Lagos royal families. Also, they have the returnees, the Brazilian returnees who their offspring are educated, and they're already coming back with no, we're not giving in to any more of these Westerners' rules. So out of those combinations came about. By the time they get to the 1800s, things are bubbling up. Abad Macaulay came to the scene with his push, anti-colonial push, and advocating to the masses. And he kept blocking the Europeans' agendas. And the three major agendas of the Europeans were, which is the key cornerstone of their indirect rule in the Lagos colony, which at that time is mostly Lagos Island and Lagos mainland and the suburbs, was one, they want to be able to implement their tax policies. Two, they want to have control of who decide who's going to be the king of Lagos, who is going to be Eleko. Three, they wanted to control who decide who the choice of the imam of the central mosque is going to be in Lagos Island. So all that will create a conflict. Here comes Abad Macaulay, a Christian, whose maternal grandfather was Bishop Samuel Ajayi Crowther. Now working hand in hand with the Muslim Central Mosque of Lagos. And the Lagos Palace, the Eleko Palace, hand in hand, and the elites hand in hand to oppose the British moves. Yeah, they will write newspaper. Macaulay opened newspaper, they will write and all that, but then they find out that the British can always, through the legal maneuver, ban the newspaper or close it for a little bit. But there's something they couldn't close. Orin Kiko. And the Saliko people are very good at Orin. Any little thing they come up with Orin that they oppose. Anything they like, they come up with song Orin that they to further the cause that they are for. And song to push back at things they are against. And Abibu Oluwa, he was born in 1904. Young man, burst into the scene, and by mid-20s, by the time he was mid-20s, 1928, it was already big. It was already big. So by the time the British sentenced Herbert Macaulay to additional prison, 6 months hard labor in 1928, Abibu was their mouthpiece on how to get message out to the locals. It was through this music. His full name is Abibu Ayinde Olatunji Oluwa ọmọ amúbí ẹ̀yà. What is ẹ̀yà? Ẹ̀yà is a quick-witted person. It's a nickname for quick-witted person. But ẹ̀yà itself was a sharp knife that the Yoruba would use to create an incision on the palm tree, on the neck of the palm tree when they tap in it. So the knife has to be really, really sharp. So when they call someone Amubi Eya, meaning is a quick-witted individual. Abibu, for the locals that are not elite, they will call him Abibu Oniwaasu, meaning Abibu the singer that is always preaching sermons. And that came from his knowledge of Islamic scriptures. So when he was sing, he will use Islamic guidance to tell people to do goods and all that. But for the elite, they call him Abibus Delinton. So if you see some of his early work in documentation, it's not called Abibu Oluwa. It will be Abibus Oluwa. But that's the nickname the elites will call him. So you have the elites of Pukwaguda, the Akerele brothers, the Pinotu, Akerele, and all those Agbabiaka got involved later on, and then Oshatawa Arekpete Dumbo. And then you have people rally around him. So the Brazilians, both the Brazilian Christian and the Brazilian Muslim, they kind of gravitate towards him. And then on the Saleko side, the local non-elite, they rally around him. And not only that, and when it comes to the Ekpetedos, the Ekpetedos, they love him too. In fact, one of his early songs is like, wọ́n pè wá lólóráyè, wọ́n láwa ń ṣègùnnú. Olóráyè, they're calling us fool. We're going with the Igunu masquerade. Olóráyè, wọ́n pè wá lólóráyè, wọ́n láwa ń ṣègùnnú. Anyway, so that's Abibu for you. His first recorded songs were Orin Alhaji Muritalabi, and the other side of it is Orin Alhaji Karim Kotun. Those are his first two. But remember back then, when he would record, there's no studio in Nigeria, so they would come and they would record it, and then they had to send it by ship to Europe to cut the plate. So now they have to wait another 10 months, a year before it comes back. So he already recorded that Orin Alimuri Talabi, and which the other side of it is Orin Karim Kotun. Before the incident of Abba Macaulay being sent to jail in 1928. But after that incident, what Europeans would do is they send them to jail. While they're in jail, they have prison uniform with serial numbers. And then when they release people from jail, they take their uniform back and then they just give them a particular clothes to wear out. Well, when it came to the time when Abba Macaulay was coming out after serving that 1928 charges about him writing in his newspaper that the British were intending to rig the car of the King of Lagos to blow him up. The British charged him. But when he came out, after serving that 6 months, the Lagosian already went and saw him a big traditional Yoruba garb. And that's what they meant. They made sure he wore when he was about to come out of the jail. So I'll play the song for you guys. You guys will get it later on. But the song I want to do today is the second record he cut. The side one of it, the side A of it is called Orin Faaji. But that Orin Faaji is actually Lahillah ila Allahu to fi si wa lenu. Is the Shahada, the Muslim call Shahada, in the article of faith. We are bear witness that there is only one God. And then to complete that sentence, and Prophet Muhammad is his messenger. And the other side of that song was Orin about Macaulay. So I'll play the first one for you guys. The lead drummer in this is a lead drummer on both the first record he cut for Alimuri Talabi and Orin Karim Kotun, and this second record he cut, which side A is Orin Faaji and side B is Orin about Macaulay. The lead drummer was Buckner, aka the Governor. Was from the popular music family, Yoruba music family, the Buckner family. So it goes like this. So this will be the side A of his second release, which he did in circa 1929. But by the time they ship it to England to cut the plate and ship it back, he didn't get back to the shore of Gold Coast, which was the name that West Africa was called back then. He didn't get back to West Africa shore until 1930. So which means Abibu was 25, 26 years old when he cut that, which means he was about 24 years old when he cut the first song. So you guys hear me out and look at the quality of it from a mid-20s musician. Sílẹ̀ fún eléré kọjá kò gbà bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Àjànàkú that you guys set the trap for. Eléré kọjá kò gbà bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Yoruba sometimes say erin mojú kò gbà bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. The elephant that you set the trap for ignore it. He went another route. He didn't fall for it. If the elephant is not robust, is not sufficient, it's not the shame of the elephant, it's the shame of the habitat. That means the habitat didn't have enough nutrients. Allahu tó fi sí wa lẹ́nu ká lè rí ohun mú ṣe rí ìbòdà láìra. Lahillah ila Allahu tó fi sí wa lẹ́nu that he gave us is our proof and evidence in the day of judgment. Jọ̀bí kápún ká mọ̀ fún kó ta wá lọ́rẹ ká tìjú ká bẹ̀rù ká ṣe dáradára tó bá pé tìjú ó sì níbẹ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀ ìtìjú ni ó pàdé fẹ́ni àtà lọ́rẹ. When we've been blessed, we should match that blessing with humility. Tó bá jẹ́ pé ìtìjú ò sí níbẹ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀, ìtìjú ni kó wà fún ẹni tá ta lọ́rẹ. If you don't have humility, no matter how blessed you are, you might end up crashing. That's the message of that line. Ọmọ wa kéékèèké wọn yọ ọmọ onílù báwí fún wọn gbọ́ ògbọ́ ká ṣàdúrà fún wọn rábàná rábàlì ọlá mámàjà bá ìgbọ́ kù torí ọlọ́rẹ́. Our youth that become ọmọnílù, what's ọmọnílù? That became rowdy. They're rowdy. Some we call them vagabonds. In America, they'll call them band groupies. So, àwọn ọmọ wa kéékèèké tó ń ya ọmọ nílù. Bá wí fún wọn bọ́ ògbọ́ ká ṣàdúrà fún wọn. Rábà lílù máma jẹ́ abá ìgbọ́ kú. Because if you are persistent and kept going on the wrong path, and death came and got to come on, it's not, you already mess yourself up in this life. Now in the hereafter, then you even face a bigger consequence. Lahillah ila Allahu tó fi sí wa lẹ́nu ká lè rí òun ṣe rí ìbòdà láìra. Ẹni tó kọ̀ tí ó gbà tí kò fi wá bá nínú náà ni ó pìtàn sa ìdílé wàrà. Àìsọ́nà àbí wọ́n wà níbolẹ̀ tí wọ́n mú ìwọ wọn mọ́rùn kò lè lè dára. Let's deal with that. Ní Lahillah ila Allahu tó fi sí wa lẹ́nu ká lè rí òun ṣe rí ìbòdà láìra. Ẹni tó kọ̀ tí ó gbà tí kò fi wá bá inú náà ni ó pìtàn sa ìdílé wàrà. Who is Said al-Wara? Said al-Wara is a nickname for Said ibn Jubayr, who was a faithful believer. He was a faithful believer. So he was saying, if you that don't believe, when it's already too late for you, and now you are approaching the hell, you will start hearing the narration and the story about ẹ̀yin ò gbọ́n pa Said al-Wara nígbà tẹ́ wà nílé ayé yín. You didn't hear about the story of Said al-Wara, how devoted and he believed in God and he did good. Ó ní aṣọ náà àbí wọn níbo lẹ́yìn ti wá. The guardian of hell whose name was Maliki, who has them. He's in charge of the inmates of hellfire. Where are you guys coming from? And we're from Nigeria, Nisa, because Nigeria like to say sa sa sa. Think about the ball or when they trying to corner you. It's from Nigeria, Nisa. And you didn't hear about Saidi Luwara that you're supposed to do good. If you have followed that route, you won't be coming to this gate. What the baller was saying. Now I'm going to do so. Not Kumaliki. So now it comes back and now it mentioned the name of the guardian of angel, Maliki, Oku Maliki. You become Oku Maliki, hellfire in-law, and you Oku Maliki. About the guardians of hell. So Oku Maliki. But the baller, yeah. Because by that point, Baba mi gbà mí ó ti late. Wọ́n ní kíní kan ò ní ṣe níbì kan k'Olúwa má mọ̀. Nothing happens in this world and above that the Almighty doesn't know about. So I sneakily dodge it. I cheated that guy. I beat him. Mo ṣòjóró fún ìyàwó mi. Mo ṣòjóró fọ́kọ mi. Gbogbo ẹ̀ lọ́lọ́run rí. Kíní kan ò ní ṣe níbi kan k'Olúwa má mọ̀. Kò ṣẹ̀yìn Olúwa mi. Ọba Àlìkádùrì ẹ máa gbọ́. K'Olúwa má mọ̀. Kò ṣẹ̀yìn Olúwa mi. Ọba Àlìkádùrì. Bùkátà bíyánà àrísìkí. Bùkátà bíyánà àrísìkí. Ọlọ́run sọ pé bùkátà wa bíyánà àrísìkí. If human beings understand the correlation between wealth and needs, á ti lọ dùn jù, but kò yé wa. Bùkátà bíyánà àrísìkí. Àrísìkí is blessing. Bùkátà is your liabilities and debt, your needs, nǹkan tó fẹ́. But àwọn ẹ̀dá, what we really need, we really need, is not as big as what we really want. So when our want is the driving force, ìgbà yẹn la máa ṣe jura wa lọ, la máa lọ ha. Kò sí nǹkan t'Ọlọ́run lè fún wa tó máa tẹ́ wa lọ́rùn. Kò sí àrísìkí t'Ọlọ́run lè fún wa tó máa tó. Kò ní tó ṣáà ni, because we never really understood the correlation. A máa lé nǹkan tí ó yẹ ká lé. So that's what he's saying there. Kadara, your faith. Kadara, your faith can't shield you from death. Ọlọ́run àti tó nǹkan ìlétò báyìí, àwa máa lé nǹkan tí ó yẹ ká lé. Bí àṣà alájọbí ó di pàgbó. Àlọ́ kúra sí nǹkan tó yẹ kó sí báyìí máa lera sẹ́nu kú nìyẹn. So sometimes your faith is already well packaged for you, but you, like Americans would say, you F yourself up. You speed things up. Then the individual dies too quick. So that's Lahillah ila Allahu tó fi sí wa lẹ́nu ká lè rí òun mú jẹ rí ikú aláìra. And that song, it was just beating rhythmic. Buckner was just beating rhythmic. Just beating rhythmic. So For you guys' benefit, ma fa saying, for you guys to just hear the whole song clean. And then bí òye ìgbẹ́ lójú ó tì bó dọ̀la. Ìgúnjọ bí Lahillah ila Allahu tó fi sí wa lẹ́nu ká lè rí òun jẹ rí bódà láyéra. Ìgúnjọ bí ó dáwọ́ ká mọ̀ fún kó ta wá lọ́rẹ́ láti tún ká bẹ̀rù ká ṣe dáradára. Bó bá tètè ju òsì níbẹ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀, ìtẹ́jú ni ó padì fẹ́ ní àtà lọ́rẹ́. Àwọn ọmọ wa kéékèèké wọn yọ ọmọ onílù, láwí fún wọn bọ́ ògbọ́n ká ṣàdúrà fún wọn. Rábàná rábàná rábàlì ìrúlá, máma já bá ìgbọ́ kú torí ọlọ́rẹ́. Lahillah ila Allahu tó fi sí wa lẹ́nu ká lè rí òun mú jẹ rí bódà láyéra. Ẹni tó kọ̀ tí yóò gbà tí kò bí wà bá nínú náà ni ó pè tán ṣàìdí ní wàrà. Aṣọ náà wá bí wọ́n wà níbolẹ̀ tí wá, wọ́n mú ní mọ̀mọ́mọ́nù òrùlé lára. Kí ní ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ní òkú Màlíkì, ìwà wọn ló dá wọn láyé tí ó dára. Kí ní ṣe ní nìkan Olúwa máa mọ̀, kò sẹ́yìn Olúwa ní ọba lè kárí ro. Bùkátà bí àná àrísìkí, bùkátà bí àná àrísìkí, bùkátà bí àná àrísìkí, kádàrá bí àná mútu wà bá. That's a beat for you. I'm going to do the side B next. And I'll try and post both of them the same day. If you have a comment, leave your comment. Let me hear what you're thinking about it. It might prick my interest in doing another song for you guys. But leave your comment. You guys stay blessed. Don't forget the message. Gotta be good. Gotta be good. There's more to where we are today. Ibi tójú dé kọ́ ni òpin ọ̀nà ẹ̀dá. There's life after here. You gotta be good. Don't forget your do re mi. Stay blessed.